What's good, YouTube? This your boy Derek Branch of SportsView360.com, covering the Memphis Tigers today. And today I want to talk about the best and worst case scenarios for Memphis Tigers basketball for the upcoming 2025-2026 regular season campaign as they start things off pretty much by the two exhibition games, the one against Auburn and the bigger one against Arkansas, which is John Calipari's return to the city of Memphis. Those two games are exhibition matchups, but it still gives the fan base a glimpse of what you could possibly see with this team this season. That they started the regular season against San Francisco, and then on to um, those other matchups down in that tournament they played against Purdue and all that. But I'm gonna start off with the best case scenarios for Memphis basketball. The best case scenarios for this team, in my opinion, is that you have another strong outing in your non-conference slate. You do really well. You get out of that gauntlet well above 500, and you go into conference play. You have like a repeat performance of what you did last year, do really well, win the American Conference regular season title. Then you win the American Conference tournament title, and you get another high seed, another top five seed, possibly a fourth or third seed. We don't know, but you get this high seed again, and this time you go past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Even go past the second week, get to the Sweet 16. That's the best case scenario for you. Because honestly, I think last year those injuries, I'm not making it as an excuse, but they had a chance to win that game. But I guess Colorado State. But if you had not lost Tyrese Hunter, and the other guard, Memphis would have probably beat Colorado State. Probably would have gotten past the next opponent, and maybe gotten to the Sweet 16. You know, but those injuries when using Tyrese Hunter was one thing. But losing your other guard was another. And sometimes in the tournament, it's all about matchups. Style makes fights. And they took advantage of that. And that's what happened to the Tigers. But I thought they would have had a deep tournament run, a better outing at the tournament if you had all your personnel. So, best case scenario for this program, have a really good non conference slate, well above 500. Going to in conference play, have another solid resume, take care of business, win a regular season title, win a conference title, get a high seed, and go deeper into the NCAA tournament. That's your best case scenario for Memphis basketball. Now, to close it out, let's get into the worst case scenario, right? The worst case scenario for Memphis basketball this season for the 2025 2026 campaign is this to me. You go into non-conference play, you start the season off, you have a couple bad losses. You don't beat you struggle to put away some of those really good teams on your slate. Teams like Ole Miss, you lose to Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Let's say you beat Vanderbilt, but you lose to Louisville, you lose to Baylor. You know, you go into conference play on a sour note. Then you kind of struggle again in American conference play, and then it gets to a point where you kind of you grasping for air. You're trying to punch above your weight, doing, to close out the season and improve your standings in the American, and try to, and if you don't win the American conference regular season tournament, your last your best bet is to, you know win the conference championship, because once you with this the schedule that the Tigers have in regards to the non-conference slate, the non-conference opponents, this is for resume building, strictly for resume building. And if you get up to a bad sour note, you don't you don't try to, I won't say try, but you don't accomplish what you put out, what you set forward by not beating these teams, these good teams, and then you go into conference play struggling. That's a bad precedence. You know what I'm saying? But and then after that is, not going to the tournament at all, or winning the American Conference tournament, but then get beat in the first round. That's the worst case scenario for Memphis. But Penny Hardaway, I mean, after hearing the press clippings and all that, the interviews, he's very optimistic about this team. He's very optimistic on how deep this team can go in the tournament. He's optimistic on how well they'll perform in this non-conference slate, because I think it's one of the best, it's the most stacked slates in college basketball. You can't really beat it. I don't see other programs scheduled like this. You playing Ole Miss, San Francisco, UNLV, Purdue, you got Baylor, Louisville, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. A lot of those teams went to the tournament last year. You know, so it'd be interesting to see how it's all gonna play out, man. But do I think the Tigers are gonna be are they gonna be spotless during non-conference play? Probably not. They probably have a mulligan here or there. But we'll see. But should be an interesting season. Another year where Penny Hardaway is pretty much fielding a new team with personnel in it. So there's that. But that's all I have for y'all for right now. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. In your opinion, let me know in the comment section below. What is the best and worst case scenarios for Memphis basketball this season? Have a blessed night. Peace. I'm out.